Lagos teaches you early that nobody is coming to save you. Amina learned that at 16. That was the year her father died. He was a bus driver, not rich, not powerful, but present. He used to say, "Education is the only inheritance I can give you." When he was buried, relatives cried loudly at the cemetery. 2 weeks later, they stopped calling. It was just Amina and her mother in their small one-room apartment in Mushin. Her mother began sewing day and night to keep Amina in school. The sound of the old machine became the soundtrack of their survival. But life is not always kind to hardworking people. In Amina's final year at university, her mother fell sick, kidney failure. Hospital bills stacked up like unpaid prayers. Amina combined classes with hospital visits. She read under dim lights. She graduated with a first-class degree in civil engineering. The day she got her results, she ran to the hospital with the printout. Her mother smiled weakly. "I told you, education is good," she whispered. 3 weeks later, she died. And just like that, Amina became an orphan. At the burial, relatives discussed her future like she wasn't there. Who will she stay with? Engineering? In this economy? She should just find any job. Nobody offered real help. After the condolences rites finished, they all disappeared. Amina stayed back in the same tiny room. She applied for jobs across Lagos, Victoria Island, Ikeja, Ikorodu, Lekki, Surulere. No response. She ended up washing clothes for neighbors, not because she wanted to, but because hunger doesn't wait for dream jobs. Every time she carried buckets outside, children would whisper, "First-class graduate, Abi?" She kept quiet. Months later, there was a big family wedding in Ikorodu. She almost didn't go, but something in her wanted to show she was still standing. She wore her mother's old Ankara, adjusted to fit her slimmer body. At the reception, while others prayed money, an auntie looked at her and said, "Amina, you are shrinking, oh. When will you become something? All this book. Where is the result?" Another cousin added, "Maybe engineering is not for you." They all laughed. The laughter felt familiar, like poverty echoing. She smiled politely. But that night, back in Mushin, she broke. She cried until her chest hurt. She questioned everything. Her degree, her faith, her existence. Depression doesn't always scream. Sometimes it just makes you walk without direction. One hot afternoon, she was crossing the busy road near Ojuelegba. Her mind was far away. A black Range Rover almost hit her. Tires screeched. People shouted. The driver stepped out. It was his early 40s. Calm, well-dressed, not arrogant, just observant. "Are you trying to die?" he asked, not angrily. She shook her head. "Then why are you walking like you have nothing to lose?" And something about that question broke the dam. She told him everything. Her father, her mother, first-class degree, no job, washing clothes. He listened, not like someone being entertained, like someone evaluating truth. "What did you study?" he asked her. She answered, "Civil engineering." His eyebrow lifted slightly. He handed her his card. "Adeyemi, Build Corp Construction Limited. I own a construction company. Kindly send your CV." She almost laughed. She had sent over 100 already, but something in his tone felt differently. 2 days later, she emailed it. 3 days later, she was invited for an interview in Victoria Island. The office alone intimidated her. Glass walls, engineers in helmets, Real projects displayed on screen. She answered every technical question confidently. When the interview ended, Mr. Adeyemi said, "First class, strong internship history. Why are you washing clothes?" And she answered, "No opportunity." He leaned back. Opportunity just came. He offered her a junior site engineering position. The salary wasn't small. For the first time since her mother died, Amina exhaled properly. She walked like someone who had seen hunger. She arrived before everyone. She studied site plan at night. She volunteered for difficult projects. Within a year, she was promoted. Within 2 years, she was leading small project teams. She moved out of Mushin to a modest apartment in Yaba. She didn't rush luxury. She built stability. Mr. Adeyemi noticed more than her intelligence. He noticed her integrity, the way she refused bribe from suppliers, the way she treated laborers with respect, the way she never played victim. Conversation moved from site meeting to coffee. Coffee moved to dinner. Dinner moved to something deeper. He didn't fall in love with her because she was beautiful. He fell in love with her because she survived without becoming bitter. 2.5 years after almost eating her with his car, he proposed. Simple, private, intentional. They got married quietly. And 3 years after that wedding in Ikorodu, where they laughed, another family event came. Her grandmother's burial. And this time, Amina arrived in a white Range Rover. Not to show off, but because that was now her reality. She stepped out, confident, elegant, not loud. The same aunties rushed forward. "Amina, we always knew you would make us proud." She smiled. Because life has a sense of humor. The cousin who mocked her asked, "How did it happen?" And she answered calmly, "It didn't happen. I built it. No anger, no revenge, just truth." That day she understood something powerful. They laughed at her when she had nothing. But nothing was not at the end. Nothing was the foundation. If her father had lived, maybe she wouldn't have fought as hard. If her mother hadn't sacrificed, maybe she wouldn't have valued education as deeply. If they hadn't mocked her, maybe she wouldn't have developed discipline. The real lesson: don't mock people in their struggling season. Lagos can change a life in one traffic light. And sometimes, the same girl washing clothes in Mushin becomes the woman driving through Lekki in a Range Rover. Not because she was lucky, but because she refused to die when life almost ran her over. They laughed at her when she had nothing, but God was building her quietly.